Thank you very much, Tamara, for the introduction and also the um, um, those kind words. I'm very honored to be able to speak to the youth from the Pacific Islands and our small nations today and our distinguished delegates. I speak on behalf of the Alliance of Small Island States, as you have alluded to, and speak also on behalf of the chair of the Alliance of Small Island States. We know that youth remains a core group that small islands, when advocating for climate justice across the UNFCCC negotiations, as well as in other climate change forum, including the sea level rise meeting in New York in September. This is mainly due to the fact that climate change, of course, as you all know, has implications that are felt by everyone, including the elderly, the disabled, the youth, the children. Climate change and does not discriminate. So while we as a core group feel the need to also rise up to the challenge to address the impacts of climate change, we should also keep in mind that it's a collective effort. It doesn't discriminate. It's across the board and affects everyone: the youth, the young, and the elderly and the children. So it's across the board, and we must, in order for the youth to work, we have to take into account the whole collective approach to climate change. I myself engaged in the process as a youth earlier on, before any of you, I think. And our story as young youth advocates and young girls to make the global community hear what we are experiencing in our land and the pain of losing our cultural identity and land that we love the most, to climate change, to which we have contributed less. I worked at a very young age when I completed college, when I was in early 20, 21, 22, and I worked for my government, and we did a lot of work across the communities. I think that's very, very more impactful when our young people are working within our communities, if to showcase your climate action that we continue to advocate for. It is important to work with your communities in terms of amplifying your climate actions, which includes supporting your communities in cleanup efforts, in your mangrove, in growing all sorts of activities such as mangrove rehabilitation, tree planting, and all that. So actions really speak louder than words is my message today to you youth. Of course, we know our islands with breathtaking beauty and rich cultural heritage are our home, and they are under threat from the relentless impacts of climate change. Our passion for engaging in area of climate change is that we can always feel proud of small achievements that we make in this process. It took small islands 3 decades to agree on a loss and damage fund, which was a historical decision and landmark decision at the UAE COP28. So it took 3 decades for every ongoing leader, youth that was working under the umbrella of the Small Island Developing States, within the Alliance of Small Island States, every voice, every person that made an impact throughout those 3 decades saw the culmination of the efforts to the agreements of a loss and damage fund at the UAE COP28. The critical role of youth in climate action, particularly for our Pacific small islands, it is very challenging that every aspect of our lives, from our economies to our ecosystems, and also immediate and sustained actions, are all impacted by climate change. Today, you youth hold a unique position in this battle that what we had a few years ago. You are the flag bearers of our countries for today and tomorrow. Your involvement in climate action is not just pivotal; it is essential. Without you within the ecosystem of everyone involved, as I said, within the climate space, we lose the moral grounds that hold small islands in the battle against the climate change. Let me highlight a few reasons why we need you as youth to work with us all the way to create a climate resilient islands. Firstly, the youth are on the front line of climate impacts. The rising sea levels, increasing temperatures, and extreme weather events are not distant threats for us. They are our present reality. Our islands are small and vulnerable, making them particularly susceptible to the effects of climate change. And as the most affected, you have a personal stake in ensuring that our voices are heard in the global conversation on climate action. We bear to see the total collapse of our ecosystems and its services and our unique habitats. You are also an engine for innovation and creativity. You have grown up in a rapidly changing world and have adapted to it with agility and inventiveness. You have started using rainwater harvesting as a technique as means to water security in our islands. I guess we grew up in the islands where we are very innovative in our traditional knowledge to deal with the impacts of climate change, and these knowledge are passed down from your elders to us, to the youth, to you who are now the youth of our the young people coming up in protection of our cultural heritage, our lands, our unique capabilities to make the international global forum look to us as leaders in our fight against climate change. You are using highly technological solutions to monitor damages to the ecosystems and innovative means to address these concerns. This makes you uniquely capable of developing new solutions to the challenges posed by climate change, whether it's through harnessing renewable energy, promoting sustainable fisheries, or raising awareness through digital platforms. You have the extra power to drive change in ways that we were previously unimaginable. You are also natural advocates for our future. The youth have already shown tremendous leadership in climate advocacy, raising awareness both locally and globally. Our voices have been heard in international forums, including the COP, the Conference of the Parties, and now going towards COP29. And we have inspired movements that demand action from world leaders. By continuing to speak at the international forums, at the national events, we can ensure that the unique challenges faced by our islands are recognized and addressed on the global stage. We need more and more such waves of advocacy and urgency of the issue from the youth, but most importantly, your action speaks louder than words. You have the needed energy to drive these advocacy, and we need these youth energy to deliver more of climate ambition to secure our future. The youth must lead in fostering collaboration and community resilience. As you know, climate change is a complex and multifaceted issue that requires collective action. By working together, sharing knowledge, and supporting one another, we can build resilient communities that are capable of withstanding the challenges ahead. You youth have the energy and the passion to bring people together and to drive the collaborative efforts that are so desperately needed, including this event. This event will be the breeding ground for all youth to combine your high intellectual engagements, including your passion and drive for more climate action from not only global leaders, but also your own leaders within your own communities. It is very significant for youth in climate change, but we need more time to generate ideas and solutions to address climate change. Therefore, I urge you to be the game changers, the innovators behind the driving force in making sure that these new technologies are climate friendly, the actions on the ground, adaptation, you contribute to mitigation efforts of your countries, you contribute to the GST, the global stock take, the next global stock take. There's a lot of information or data that's not available and in the small island level. When you start to work with your governments, you are the youth, the young people that will help generate and make sure this data is collected in order for us to prepare our reports and work to the United Nations, particularly the UNFCCC. And I want to close here to emphasize that you are the generation that must rise to the challenge, innovate, advocate, and collaborate to secure a sustainable future for our islands. Your involvement is not just a matter of urgency, it's a matter of survival. The time to act is now, and the responsibilities is yours and ours to bear. And let us embrace this challenge with the work, creativity, and resilience that defined us as the youth of the Pacific. I strongly urge you to work with your governments, understand the growing concerns that is there, work from factual, science-based, delivering what you need as youth to be well informed. I also urge that it's not about calling bigger countries. It's not about being loud and calling attention to ourselves at the international arena. It's about collective action on the ground. It's about you as youth, us as workers as well. We work within our communities to make our communities resilient by whatever work, waste management, cleanups, tree planting, everything that you can contribute to your community. It's a saying, there's a saying in one of our youth works, and I think it's one of the slogans that we have, work locally, but actions, you do your work locally, but the actions resound globally. So I think that's a message that we can bring to our youth. It's really important that not only do we speak loud and be advocate in the bigger arena, it matters that we work on the ground on our work, climate actions at home. With that, I would end and thank you for the opportunity and the time given to myself on behalf of the Alliance of Small Island States to address your forum today. Thank you very much.